presentation to this evening, the wealth formula in retirement presentation. So let me start sharing my screen so you can see the presentation and we will get started. I am so glad that everyone is here today. um it's awesome, just being here. So thank you. Someone invited you to this presentation. You should definitely tell them thank you because they thought enough of you for you to receive this very valuable information called the wealth and retirement formula. So okay, hold on, let me just get started here. You put it in slideshow. Okay, here we go. So, would we all agree that most people don't know what to do with a dollar? Number one, like I said, I'm Betty Hall Valentine. I am from South Carolina and I have been in the financial service industry for about a year and a half. So I'm relatively new. I'm learning a lot, but I absolutely love it at OIC, which is our Infinite company. And what we do is help people secure their money and grow wealth here. So it's very near and dear to me because I love helping people. And it's also very valuable information because it's very scarce. It's not everywhere. So if you are privileged to be, invited here, consider it, a really big deal because everybody doesn't have access to this information. So as we go through the presentation tonight, I would like for you to participate as well. You can put a one in the chat if you agree that people, most of us don't know what to do with a dollar. You can put a one in the chat if you think most of us do or not. I know that, that I want you to take notes. I want you to go away, with some takeaways, some nuggets from this, because when I was introduced to this information, it was life changing for me. Definitely in a financial way and actually in a spiritual way as well. I was looking for this. I was looking for, a way to grow my money, to grow my finances. And I was looking for a way to build wealth for my children and my grandchildren. So this wealth and retirement formula is just that. So let's see. We understand that most people do not, have access to financial literacy. And most of us are sick and tired of working a regular 9 to 5 and trying to figure it out. And that was me. I had maybe a couple of different bank accounts because I was trying to figure out how to grow my money, how to, create wealth. So I had one at Navy Federal, I had one at Wells Fargo, and I was putting money in there with hopes of it growing. But as I checked it, even with the certificates and the CDs at Navy Federal, it still wasn't growing. It wasn't growing to the extent that I thought it should be growing. So when this information came to me, then it was like a light being turned on. It was like, oh my God, this is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been praying for. So I was really super excited about that and the opportunity to, be an individual, a financial educator with our Infinite company. So that was awesome. But just to let you know, you cannot work your way into wealth. Okay, let me say that again. You cannot work your way into wealth. That was something that I thought that, that you could do because, our beliefs about finances and financial literacy is inherited. So it's what your parents instilled in you and what their parents instilled in them. So a lot of times, if you know better, you do better. Our parents, they just knew to go get a bank account And that's what they told us. Go get a bank account. You save your money. It's protected there. So that's what we did. And that was the extent of my financial literacy. My mother, she was a hardworking woman. She was a single parent. She raised three children all by herself. But when it came to just, how to grow wealth or the financial literacy, that's just something that she was never told. She was never taught. So, I was just blessed, and you're blessed as well to come in contact with this information. So, this can definitely change your life. And I'm really excited to be here to present to you. So, okay, are you ready? Are you ready for me to give you this life-changing information, the wealth and retirement formula? If you're ready, put a one in the chat so I know that everybody's still with me. If I can get a couple of ones or something in the chat, I really appreciate that. Okay. So, like I said, would you all agree that most Americans don't know what to do with a dollar? So, I think that financial literacy, this is definitely the code to financial literacy. The wealth and retirement formula, because we all know, as if you do work a job, at some point you do want to retire. So you definitely have to start planning for the future, because if you don't plan for the future, then you plan to fail. So let's go. Okay, so the importance of financial literacy. So it says here, poverty language and wealth language. So number one, you gotta understand, and you have to come to the knowledge that uh people who are in poverty don't speak the same language as wealthy people. Poverty language says go to school, get good grades, and get a good job. But we know now, being here in our infinite company, that go to school, get a good job, that there's no such thing as a good job. There's no such thing as that. The wealthy language is go to school, get good grades, and start a business. So they start planting the seed of entrepreneurship in their children early. So it's not like, that's why they call it the corporate ladder, because it's not the end. It's supposed to be the beginning to an end. Just like the poverty language is also like, when you find a good job, keep it. And that's what we heard growing up as well. Oh yeah, I'm working this job, I'm making like $21 an hour, and you're like, oh man, you're doing good. But then, like, the wealthy language is a job is a good place to start, but not a good place to finish. So that's their starting point, because we should desire to want more and to be entrepreneurs, to own our own, instead of making somebody else's ideas and dreams bigger and more wealthier, as we could be doing for ourselves. They also say money is the root of all evil. I'm sure you've heard that. The rich are robbing the poor. Money doesn't buy happiness. They don't pay much. The rich should pay more taxes. Things have gotten really expensive. And if you've been around conversations, me personally, I have heard every single one of these bullets in conversations, but I hadn't heard the bullets from the wealth language. It's called the corporate ladder, not the corporate bed. Money isn't everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. That's pretty serious. Like, you got to have oxygen to live. So you got to have money to live, right? So money is best exchanged for experiences, not things. And this is one thing that I am beginning to teach my grandchildren. My grandchildren are like 3, 6, and 9. So I'm starting early with them, letting them know that, I'm not going to go buy you like 10 pairs of Jordans, but what I will do is contribute to a strategy for you for wealth. So when you do get ready to go to college, or when you do get ready to start a business, then you'll have a startup. You'll have the capital to do so. And then another one is, don't work for money. Teach your money to work for you. like it's so eye opening, right? Because when you've only heard that you have to work a job and you've never heard like to put your money to work for you, that really changes the outlook. And it changes the way that you see things, especially like financially, how you're spending your money. If you're spending it wisely, are you saving some? Are you preparing for a rainy day? Do you have to go in your 401k or your retirement, to pay for something that's not planned? Like, I don't know, something happens to your car and you have to have car, repairs done. So, a lot of people, we end up going into, the retirement fund, and that's not what it's for. So, but this is the different, literacy, the change, the differences between people poverty language and wealth language. And I'm sure, put a one in the chat if you've heard kind of these conversations, if you've heard of the wealthy speaking and you've heard those conversations, or the people in poverty, how they speak. So that is definitely what I have experienced. Okay, so wealthy people understand that time is true wealth. Your time is the most valuable commodity that you owe. So time is wealth and time is money. And the more you have of it, the more time that you have to grow and to build and to leave a legacy for your family. Okay, so money mastery. All right. So either you are either mastering money or money is mastering you. So it's either you're gonna get the financial literacy and change the way that you're handling your money, or either you'll always end up behind the ball. It's like, you'll always end up, looking for being wealthy, but you'll never get there because you don't have the education to be able to create the wealth. So just know, if you're not mastering your money, the money is mastering you. And this is really important as well, because it's so, even in today's society, we are such consumers. We are really big consumers. I love things. I love, bags. I love shoes, and I love all of that. But in learning the financial literacy, it's like, I really don't need all of that. It's nice to have a couple of nice things, but just to like spend all of your disposable income on things that you really don't need, it's like, because I think we've all been there. They tell you to get a good job, you start making, you feel like good money. That's what we call it, good money. And then, you start, splurging, and you have the nice car, and you have the nice house or apartment or condo or whatever it is that, you desire. And it looks as if you're doing really well, but behind the scenes, like, your finances are depleted. Like, you're in so much debt that you can't even, go on a small trip anywhere. It's like you're putting everything on credit cards, and with these really high interest rates. So you must master the money. Do not let the money master you. So here we go to the next slide. Okay, so what is wealth? What is wealth? We have to ask ourselves, that question, what is wealth? Because sometimes we get wealth confused with being rich. So being rich is when you trade a talent or a skill for money. So like the pro basketball players, the pro football players, the rappers, they have this skill that they get paid for, so they're rich. So their money is there because of that skill. But what if they lost the ability to continue to do that skill? What if, the basketball player got hurt? Well, then he's no longer rich because he lost the ability to produce that income or produce that money that they're getting paid. So wealth is the byproduct of money making money for you. Okay, so what do I mean? So it's the byproduct of money making money for you. So if you're investing your money into a strategy for it to increase and for it to grow, then that's money making money for you. We all know that money is it's dead. Money does not call in sick. Money does not take days off. Money is constant. It doesn't change. So wealth is the byproduct of money making money for you. So we all want to grow wealth. That's the whole that's the whole thing of financial literacy. And it's not just for us, it's for our children and our children's children, our great, 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 great grandchildren. It's like 5 generations down. So that's what we want to do. We want to create wealth. And like I said, wealth is the byproduct of money making money for you. Okay. So put a 1 in the chat if everybody's still here with me. We're still here. We're going through. So we are on the wealth formula. So this is what's so significant because I wasn't aware of this before I came to Our Infinite Company. So this was the formula that is life-changing. So as I mentioned, time is your most valuable commodity. So it's time plus capital, which is working capital, plus your rate of return minus inflation minus taxes. That's equals wealth. So like I said before, you're either mastering money or money is mastering you. So there is only 2 relationships you can have with money. Like I said, money, either you're mastering it or it's mastering you. As long as we allow someone else to dictate and determine our value, we can never grow any wealth. Okay, so that goes back to the 9 to 5. I work a 9 to 5 currently also. So I definitely can see what this means because in that 9 to 5, you're really honestly letting somebody else dictate your future. And we really sell ourselves really, really cheap because we're so much more worth than $20 or $30 an hour. It's so much more to that. But a job is a good place to start. Like I said before, it's just not a good place to finish. So the fundamental definition of wealth does not include your physical participation. So this is your money going to work for you. So like I said, the wealth formula is time. So, somebody who is 20 years old versus me, who is 51 years old, then beginning to build wealth, they have so much more time than I do. So then I have to really hyper fund whatever it is that I'm trying to build because I'm older than they are. I don't have as much time as they do. Then the working capital, capital, which is going to work for you, the rate of return, and minus the inflation, because we all know that things, continue to inflate and, the prices of things, minus taxes, because we know everybody's got to pay taxes. Nobody's exempt from that. And that equals wealth. So, okay. Next, time builds wealth. I touched on that just a moment ago when I was speaking about, the more time you have to build, the more wealth, you can grow. So here we have an example of Mr. Start Early versus Mr. Start Late. Okay, So, Mr. Start Early, they come to a presentation kind of like this, the wealth and retirement formula presentation. Mr. Start Early, he's age 25. Mr. Start Late is age 25. Mr. Start Early decides that he's going to invest $300 a month towards a strategy. Mr. Start Late says, I'm not sure about this. Maybe I'll just check on that a little bit later and see if that's something that's going to work for me. Okay, so all right. So Mr. Start Early, he goes ahead and he starts his strategy, like I said, at 25 years old, and he invests $300 a month towards a strategy for, wealth building. So Mr. Start Early, there he is. He invests for until he's 31 years of age, $300 a month. Mr. Start Late says, he already said that he didn't want to start, so that was fine. Okay, so by the time Mr. Start Early is, 31, he no longer has to pay anything into his strategy because he's already paid it. He's already paid into it for that number of years. So Mr. Start Late, he doesn't start until he's 32. And what happens is they're, at a basketball game and they're talking, and Mr. Start Late asks Mr. Start Early, well, how is that investment thing that you started? And he was like, you know what? Oh my goodness, he shows him, how much he's in, how his money is growing and everything. So Mr. Start Late says, oh, okay, well then I'll start now. Okay, so Mr. Start Late starts, but you have to know that Mr. Start Early does so much better and spends so much less than Mr. Start Late because he started so much earlier than him. Yes, the total contribution for Mr. Start Early is $25,200, but the total contribution for Mr. Start Late is $61,200. So that's the difference in time. So, I'm sorry, let me go back one. Mr. Start Early, he contributed and he had $128,367. So Mr. Start Late was like, well, how do I have more money than you? Because I've got 131, 221. But that's on paper because, like I said, the total contribution for Mr. Start Early was $25,200, and the total contribution for Mr. Start Late was $61,200. So, starting early is definitely a great advantage instead of starting late. But if you haven't started, the key is to start now. Start today. Go ahead and start investing in you and investing in your future because you're your greatest commodity. You are. I just want, you to know that, if you can do everything and all these things for other people, then you're definitely worth investing in yourself. So that was Mr. Start Late and Mr. Start Early. And get it, Mr. Start Late? Okay, so the rate of return, the quality of your soil determines the quality of your harvest. Okay, so what the rule of 72, but we're going to talk about the soil and the harvest. So when you're investing your money, you definitely want to put it into good fertile soil. And what we mean in that instance is that you really want to put it in the best vehicle to make it grow, for it to grow wealth. So that's what I mean by the quality of your soil. So, okay, so the rule of 72. The rule of 72 says that, I'm sorry, one second. Hold on one second. I'm coming. I'm sorry. Here I go. Okay. So the rule of 72 based on the soil. So age, here's your age. All of them start at 29. So, and it's 1% interest, it's 4% interest, 8%, and 10%. Okay, so if in the event you go to a bank, let's say everybody's got a bank account. If you go to Wells Fargo, I'm just throwing a bank out there. And you open up an account and you say, I want to save something. So at the bank, the percentage rate that you're going to get is 0.02%. That's just giving you kind of like something to compare these percentage rates to for the rule of 72. So it doubles every 72 years. So for example, for the 4%, it doubles every 18 years. So 29, at age 29, it would be 10,000. At age 47, it would be 20,000. So that's because of the 4% interest. Then you got the 8% interest. So it doubles every 9 years. So if you're 29, you'll have 10,000. By the time you're 38, you'll have 20,000. So age 10, age 29 for the 10%, it doubles every 7.2 years. So if you're 29 and it's 10,000, it's going to be 20,000 by the time you're 36. So the example is the biggest thing is that if you're gonna invest in anything, anybody's who investing in real estate, if you're investing in whatever else, whatever you're investing in, everybody's concerned with the rate of return. That's why you invest, because you're looking for something in return. You're looking for a higher, number, a higher value. Even when you put your money in the bank, like I said before, when I put my money in the bank, I was hoping to see a greater rate of return. Well, nowhere are you going to, in any bank, are you going to get a 10% interest? You're not going to get 8% interest. So this rule of 72, it just shows you that when you invest, make sure you're investing in the one that's going to give you the biggest harvest, that's going to give you the biggest return. So that is the rule of 72. How does your money grow? Okay, your money can grow through these different vehicle trees. It's fixed, variable, or indexed. Okay, so make sure you take notes on this. Here we go. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys are still with me. I know I'm saying a lot, but I'm going somewhere here. So the fixed is, when the fixed is, for example, like the bank. You get 0.02%. It's fixed. It's not moving. It's going to stay there no matter what. The variable is where most of the working class, most of us working class adults or Americans are. We are in the variable, which is a 401k or 403b. So these are, tax vehicles that we call retirement plans. That's where the variable is. So the fixed just stays at 0.02%. They're variable because I have a 401k, I had one. And so what happens is your money is in the market. So the points that you see, it goes up and it drops all the way down, goes all the way up. So this is what your money does. So when it goes up, of course, you gain money, but when it goes down, you lose money. And we all know, if you're not aware of, the market crash of 2008, when the market crashed and many people, business partner of mine, he lost his home, he lost, his accounts, he lost his money and everything because it was in the market. So there's no safe place there. If you lose, and you lose it all. But in the index, it is a point-to-point strategy. And when the market experienced the the losses, when it goes down, then your money is safe because it's from point to point. It doesn't experience the losses. It just sits on the side and then it just participates in the gains. So we say that zero is your hero in index, meaning if you have money in the account, you're not going to lose the money. You're not going to lose the money. You won't lose it. In a variable, you can lose all of your money. 401ks, 403bs. In an index strategy, zero is your hero. So you'll never lose all of your money. It'll go from a point to point. And going from point to point means today is January the 13th. So it'll go from January the 13th of 2026 to January the 13th of 2027. And then, you'll experience those gains. So those are the three ways that your money grows. That is there's no other three way. There's no other way. Either you're in a fixed, variable, or index. And we all know from, me explaining it that the index is the safest route. That's the safest way to grow your money. So, okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, so we go to bank-owned life insurance. Okay, so remember when I was speaking about the banks and how they give you 0.02 interest on your accounts. So we know that in 2008, when the market crashed, it was due to the housing. It was due to the real estate. So because of that, they came up with this. It's called BOLI, Bank Owned Life Insurance. So here it tells you Bank of America holds 24 billion in cash value life insurance. Wells Fargo, 19 billion in cash value life insurance. So what these banks are doing, they're going and they're investing your money in the cash value life insurance. And that's how they're able to sustain themselves. So instead of you going through a bank and they're going to give you 0.02 interest rate, why wouldn't you go through a vehicle that can give you more, that can give, more than 0.02 interest? Because they're using your money to invest in, cash value life insurance just as you can do. You can do that yourself through our own vehicle of savings. So just know that, they don't want us to know this. You're not going to go in a bank and they're going to say, you know what? Don't put your money in here. Go get you a strategy. Go get some financial literacy and go get you an index strategy so that your money can really grow. No, they're not going to tell you that because they want to keep you out of the know. They need your money to keep on existing. So that was just, a nugget there. Just remember that when you go to a bank, any bank, that you're not going to get a whole lot of savings or a whole lot of growth there because they're already investing your money in cash value life insurance. Okay, inflation. Are prices going up or is the value of your dollar going down? What do y'all think? Which one would you say? For the last 10 years, the inflation has been 2.91%. The value of your dollar decreases annually on average 3%. Unless your money grows at a rate that supersedes the inflation rate, you are losing money. So if in the event you put, let's say you put $100,000 in the bank today, if you wait 3 years, which that would be 30%, out of so that's in all actuality how much money you would have in the account. So that is inflation. So it wouldn't make sense for you to continue to leave your money somewhere where you were losing money. You probably better off putting it up under a mattress somewhere. At least you wouldn't be losing, but still the inflation is going to keep on going because things are getting more expensive and the value of a dollar is going further and further down. It's decreasing. So, okay. How is your money taxed? I know that, we don't know a lot about taxes. All I knew before was that, like, every beginning of the year, you do your income taxes, and either you get a return or either you don't, but some, and then when you get the return, it's like, they hype it up like you're really getting something, and you're not. You're really not. But how is your money taxed? So, tax now, which is mutual funds, stocks, CDs, savings accounts. So that's tax now. Tax deferred, which is 401ks, IRAs, annuities, and 403bs. And then it's taxed and it's tax-free retirement. So that's the Roth IRAs, and the life insurance. So just know that as far as the taxes is concerned, what you really need to know is, for example, the tax deferred, the 401ks, when you get ready to take out your 401k, you would rather be paying the taxes for right now, like 2026, because you may not retire until what? If you got another 20 years, you may not retire until like 2040 something, but you don't want to pay the taxes for 2040. I hope that makes sense. So tax deferred is that you don't want to pay future taxes on money that you are earning today. So tax now, you would definitely prefer to be either tax now or the tax-free retirement. Definitely the tax-free retirement. That is the definitely way that we would all want to go, because who really wants to pay taxes? Nobody really wants to pay taxes, but don't go for the banana in the tailpipe and think that when you're in a 401k, that's the best option for you, because when you get ready to retire and 30% is gone of most Americans usually get between like 87,000 to maybe 100,000 when it's time for them to retire. And that in itself is not a lot of money to retire on. So if you think you have like $100,000 saved, and then you go, get ready to retire. Okay, so you get ready to cash in your 401k, get your money, and then you come out with like $80,000 because you had to pay the taxes. It was tax deferred. So that is really, really important. You always need to remember that the tax-free, it's an IRS code 7702. It says any investment vehicle that is attached to a life insurance contract cannot be classified as income. Therefore, it cannot be taxed. So you need to know that as far as when you get to, when you're thinking about retiring, when you're thinking about the way you're saving your money, when you're thinking about, to the smart way of being more financial literate and, growing wealth, you need to think about the taxes and when they're going to come out, because you would rather have them come out sooner than later. Okay, so here is a live wealth formula strategy. This is a strategy for my business partner for his son. So your greatest asset is your ability to produce an income. And I don't think we think about that. I think when you're young, and I think even sometimes when you get older, you really don't think about that your greatest asset is your ability to produce an income. So if anything happens to that, then what are you gonna do? Your second greatest asset is how well you can protect it. So what I mean by that, if you die too soon, and I'll give this example, I'll be transparent, because the reason why I got into this area, into our Infinite company, was because I had a daughter to pass away and she was 27. So that check that box. If you die too soon, if you become, if you become ill, on the road to greatness, and on the road to getting older, living a full life, 9 times out of 10, something happens in your health. Sometimes, you need people to take care of you. Sometimes you might have to have a surgery or something. So you got to think about that as well. And then you have to think about, what if you live too long? My mom is 73. My dad is 78, and they don't seem like they're going nowhere anytime soon. So now people are living longer. So that's very important that you consider these three things, and you want to make sure that your family is taken care of. Definitely, if you die too soon, even if you become ill, because who really wants to be a burden to their children? I don't want to be a burden to my children. I don't want to be a burden to anyone. And then if you live too long, because if you live too long, even if you're like 70 something years old, who's going to hire you? You kind of like outlived that, from 0 to 18, somebody takes care of us, our parents, your guardian, or whomever. From 18 to 65, we take care of ourselves. And then from 65 to, whenever we leave here, we still have to figure out, how we're going to be in a great financial position. And it has to start now. If it doesn't start now, then it'll be too late. You'll get there and it's like, oh no, I got to keep working because I never prepared. So those are the three things that you definitely have to keep, to keep in your mind. The wealth formula strategy. Okay, so in his son's strategy, they started paying $156 a month. He is 24 years old, and they are going to invest in the strategy for 20 years. So that's the funding period. So you have the time, which is the 20-year funding period that they're going to invest in the strategy. You have the capital, which is the $156 a month. You have the rate of return. So the rate of return is the least rate of return that we can show, or we can demonstrate, is 6.42%. Although in the past, in the history, we have seen it be at least 15.88%. So then you have taxes, which is tax advantage growth. And then you have inflation, which supersedes current inflation rate. So on here, it says, if I die tomorrow. So for his 24-year-old son, right out of the gate, he already has $500,000 in death benefit. Okay, so then it says, if I need cash, if you live too long. So down there, if they, continue to invest in the strategy, and this will be increasing as well, as as your assets continue to grow, as your income continues to increase, you also need to increase in your investments. So at age 69, he would have like $730,382. And then it just goes on from there, because the cash value is building just as the death benefit is building. The growth of an investment account tied to a genuine life insurance policy cannot be classified as an income. Therefore, it cannot be taxed. Unlike your 401k loan against your money, void of taxes and penalties, 15% average rate of return over the last 20 years. So just know that in these strategies, it's just going to continue to grow. And after a period of time, after the funding period, they'll no longer have to put anything into the strategy. It'll already be taken care of. And it also shows the living benefits as well. For if you become ill, for terminal illness benefit, it will pay him up to $600,000 lump sum. For chronic illness benefit, it was $11,000 per month. For critical illness and critical injury, and those living benefits, they save lives. We have a young lady who is part of she's a founder of our Infinite company. Her name is Mary Grace. And Mary Grace got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And because she had these living benefits, they actually sent her a check for over $1 million. And she really tells her testimony everywhere because she wants to save as many lives as possible. If you have the funding to take care of all of the medical necessary needs that you need to, if you get diagnosed with a terminal illness or something like that, it makes all the difference in the world. Then you don't have to worry about finances. You can just worry about your health. You can just worry about getting better. So in this strategy, that's what it comes with as well. Okay, so compounding interest, point-to-point indexing, only participate in the gains, never the losses. Although we are no longer investing active income, the cash value continues to grow no matter what. And you can see in the diagram right there, the current surrender value. You can see the net death benefit. You can see the cumulative premium. You can see it all, and you can see it by his age as well. So this is something that you can't go wrong with. And, like I said, again, I'm so happy I was introduced to the information because even my grandchildren, they have a strategy like this. So by the time they get, even if they just don't touch it until retirement age, they're all millionaires, all three of them. And not just them, it just keeps on going. Even my unborn great grandchildren would be millionaires based off of these strategies. So that's definitely wealth building. And that's how really it changes the financial trajectory of your family. Put a 1 in the chat if you love your family, if you love your children. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to do something like this. So, when you are gone 10 or 20 years later, your family, your great-great-grands can look up at a picture on the mantle and say that was my great-great-grandmother. She left me this. She left me this financial literacy legacy. And that's something that nobody can take away. It's like that self-education. It's one thing to go to school and get degrees, because I have those and I paid for them too. I paid a lot of money for them. But this self-taught education is priceless, and nobody can take it from me. And nobody can take it from you either. So just keep that in mind. It's just, housing market crash of 2008, this is when, also COVID. Yeah. How could we even forget that? In both 2008 and 2020, if you were in an index strategy, like I had told you before, where if zero is your hero, you wouldn't have gained anything, but you would not have lost a penny. So just remember what the index is. That's when zero is your hero. You don't lose out. You win all around the board. Okay, so who qualifies to work for us? We are licensed financial professionals qualified to work with anyone. I will tell you, this is the most fulfilling position that I have had in my life. I absolutely love giving people this information and seeing how it changes their life. We can customize a strategy that works for you. We meet with our clients every 6 months and coach them to their financial goals. And really, clients become, it's a relationship thing. My clients, I don't consider them clients, I consider them pretty much like friends and family, because I'm going to be with them for the rest of their life. And I love that because listen, in the good times and the bad times, when it's ups and it's down, and life be lifing. That's what the new phrase is now. Life is lifing. You're still there. I haven't had to really deliver a death claim yet, but I know when I do, it's gonna be so impactful because that's something that is so near and dear to me. It's near and dear to me. When you lose someone, just like I lost my daughter, it's rewarding to tell somebody else about this so they don't end up having to do a GoFundMe. It's also an opportunity to create wealth for yourself. It's awesome. So the secret is out. Put a 1 in the chat if this was valuable. Put an 8 in the chat if this was valuable to you. I know it was a lot of information, but it's definitely information that is scarce. People aren't just saying this information is just not being handed out everywhere. I promise you. I was almost 50 when I came into the knowledge of this information through our infinite company. So I really thank all of you for coming. Whoever invited you to this presentation, know that you are special and you definitely should thank them. Reach back out to the person who invited you. Let them know, you want to get a strategy developed for you, developed for your family, because you know what? You need to know that you are needed. You are needed. And if in the event tomorrow you were not here, then somebody would be devastated. Someone would be devastated. So in that, we want to start planning for the future. We want to start, making better financial decisions. And I just thank you so much for letting me be the, presenter tonight. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, let the person who invited you know that, you're interested in it, and we will definitely get you started. So I thank you all, and I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay, we'll see you. And we do this every Tuesday at 8:30. So hopefully maybe I'll be back next Tuesday and we'll do it all over again. But definitely invite as many people as you can. So thank you so much, and you guys have a great night.
Thank you.